Hello girls. In this video lesson, we are going to see about the African American folk tales. So folk tales are present in every culture and every literature. So if you take folk tales, if you split it, you will be getting the words folk and tales. Folk means people, tales means stories. So stories about the people are called as the folk tales, and they are present with us for generations together. Okay, it is very old, and they we have them for different generations, and they live very long. Okay, so, going into the importance of the African American folk tales, unlike the other people, the African American people were transported from one continent to the other continent. They were transported from Africa to America. So, you find in these stories, they will have animals as characters. So, each animal would depict some person or the other. So, like that, they will have animals as characters, and they passed it on orally for different people to different people. So, it served as a tool to preserve their African American culture because they followed a culture in Africa. When they were brought to America, they were asked to forget their culture. So, to preserve their culture for the future generations, they constructed stories involving animals as characters, so that the others, that is, the white people, will not know that they are using the white people as characters. They are not talking about them. Okay, so like that, to say it indirectly, they use the animals as characters, and so we find it serves as a way of recording their experiences. So the everyday experiences, how they are exploited, and everything will be said through these folk tales. And these folk tales, they provided a means of normality and safety for the slaves. So whenever they were exchanging these kinds of folk tales with each other, they felt that they are normal, they are all one people, they are living in their own land, they are very safe. Like that, they had an impression, they had a feeling of that. Okay, so for that also they use these folk tales, and it was passed orally when they were working in the plantations, because they did not know to write. Okay, they did not they were made to forget their own language. They were asked to learn the new language of English. So they had to they did not know the form, letter form, anything like that, they didn't know. So they just transmitted it orally when they are working in the plantations or in the houses and so on. And these kind of stories, they provided them a survival in the extremely harsh and dehumanizing conditions. Okay, so they had a lot of dehumanizing conditions where they were treated very very badly as slaves. Okay, so during those times and all, these folk stories, they made them to have a positive feeling and made them to live or survive. And the African American tales are mostly about the power relations. Power relations, in the sense, the how the white people are using their power, and how even the inferior, that is the so-called inferior people, also have the power within themselves to bring out to make themselves better. And when you take the African American folk tales, the motives are very important. The motives are the themes. Okay, the themes or the values that are present in the particular story are called as motives, and they endure from century to century and culture to culture. So, if you take truthfulness as a motive, then it is present there in all the centuries, in all the cultures. So, but the details and the emphasis vary with the group experience and the individual talent. But what they are telling about the truth, what kind of story they are telling about the truth, that varies according to the groups as well as the talent of storytelling. So, in African American folk tales, we have the motive as stick fast motive. So stick fast. Okay, so you have to stick on it to very quickly. Okay, so these what is this motive? It is the story that is to convey the moral values to the people. Okay, so you have to quickly take up the theme. You have to quickly take up the moral quality. Okay, so that is called as the stick fast motive, and through the animals they depicted the human nature and preached the people how to live. For example, if you take the short stories, in that you will be having two characters, the fox and the rabbit. So you know the fox is a cunning one and rabbit is a very soft one. So how the rabbit always cheats the not cheats but overcomes the troubles that are given by the fox are become the stories of the African American folk tales. So in that it depicts the human nature. So how even a cunning people can be overcome by the soft people. Okay, how even the soft looking people can be brave. So that is the motive that is being passed on. Okay, so now we move on to the first story that we have, what the Brer Rabbit learned. So, as I said, we have many animal characters here, and the Brer Rabbit character represents the African American people because they don't have any power. Like the rabbit, that is a very small animal in the forest, we find the African American people also did not have any power in their hand, and they were considered to be very soft people. Okay, so what the Brer Rabbit learned. So, I'll just tell the story to you, and then I'll tell you the analysis. So the rabbits and the dogs had a convention, and they decided that the dogs should leave the running rabbits. Okay, so you know the dogs will always be chasing the rabbits. So the dogs here refers to the people who are in authority or people who are braver or not braver, but who are of higher power. So always what happens is the dogs will be chasing the rabbits. Okay, they will chase the rabbits, they will frighten them, they will eat them like that. So they had a convention like thing, and they decided that like when the dogs are going for hunting, when they are going for a hunt, they when they see a rabbit that is running for life, they have to leave them. They should not torture them. So now we find the Brer dog invited the Brer rabbits, and it also had dogs in his place. So now we find the Brer rabbit was scared, and it also inquired about it. So Brer dog said that it was decided in the convention. Okay, so we find the Brer Rabbit was chased by some dogs. So Brer Dog, brother, that is Brer means brother girls. So brother dog, he invited all the rest of the rabbits, and he also had some dogs at his place. So he was telling that, oh, okay, why are you saying that the dogs are chasing you? Okay, we have decided in the convention that the dogs should not chase the rabbits, and so I think the dogs will not chase you. You are lying. So that's what the complaint that Bread Dog is making. So we find the rabbit is replying that not all the dogs attended the convention, and some dogs are fools, and they don't follow the rules, and they break the rules. So you find the rabbit's brave reply here. Not all the dogs attended the convention. That is the convention that was held before. Okay, so we find he says that rabbit says that not all the dogs attended the convention, and even if everyone attend, there are some exceptions who are bad, who are fools, who don't understand it and break the rules. So we find here the rabbits didn't go to the school, but they are intelligent, and they ran away from the place before the rain and the harm that the dog intended to. Okay, so you find the rabbits, though they did not go to the school, they were intelligent. Okay, so they were intelligent enough to know what the other person is thinking of. So they ran away from the place before the rain and the harm that the dog intended to. Okay, so here what happens is, okay, so actually in this story you find one dog will voluntarily come to the rabbit's house. Okay, because the rabbit would have asked told that the other dogs are chasing him. So the the dog himself would have come to the rabbit's house along with some dogs, and it would say that we have already decided in the convention, and so no dogs would torture you. But the rabbit will bravely reply that the dogs not all the dogs attended the convention, and some dogs are fools who break the rules. So this represents the African American relationship, the white people and the black people's relationship. The dogs here represent the people who are in authority, and mostly the white people. And the convention here refers to the laws that were enacted in in America for African people. So in the convention alone, they said that they will not torture the uh, African American slaves. Okay, they will not torture the African American people. But in reality, the white people are still doing that. So this reply of the rabbit, okay. So this is like not everybody read the convention, not everybody read the rules that are set by the American government, okay, the white people's government. And in that also, some white people are like fools who want to always break the rules, who don't follow the rules, okay. And the rabbits here represents the African people. They did not go to school, but they were intelligent. They were creative. They also knew how they have to how the other peoples are approaching them. So here we find when the rabbit was talking to them, the dog actually came to eat the rabbit there, to torture the rabbit there. So when the rabbit sensed that the bread dog is going to do something, she immediately runs away from the place before rain. Okay. And he did not allow the dog to do any harm to the rabbit. So like that we find the African people also are like that, the black people are also like that. They know, they are very shrewd enough to know what the other person is thinking of, and before any harm comes, they want to go away from the place. That is the any kind before any white is going to torture about to torture them, they have to go away from the place. So that's what the bread rabbit learned, and that is what is conveyed to the other people, African people, through this story. So if if any white person in an authoritative place does something against the rules, they have to go away from them. Okay, so that's what Bread Rabbit learned, and that's a lesson. Okay, so the next story in the folktale is Bread Rabbit falls into the well. Okay, so in this we find bread rabbit, bread fox, bread coon, and bread bear, and so on. All the animals, okay, many brothers. Okay, they all address each of them as brothers. Okay, so they are all working in the plantation. They are working in the corn garden, and you find this bread rabbit used to be a very naughty one. Okay, so it did not want to. It was very tired, and it did not want to work. So what it was doing is it thought it can do a trick. So bread rabbit shouted once, and then it said that he has stuck a briar in his hand. Okay, briar in the sense a very pointed thorn. Okay, a very big thorn. Okay, so that briar has been stuck in his hand, and he says he cannot work. Okay, and the other says that okay, it's a very dangerous thing. You just put an ointment and you please go and take rest, like that they say. And we find now bread rabbit is very happy, but it doesn't show its happiness because the others might doubt. So it just goes there near the well, and it finds a bucket over there. So it sits in the bucket and it thinks that okay, I'll rest here so that no one will know me that I am resting like this, and it is a very comfortable place also for it. So it thinks like that, and then it steps into the bucket. And unfortunately, what happens is when the bread rabbit, the other like in the well, you would have seen when the wali tong. Okay, so in that one will be higher and the other one will be down. So when you put weight on the other thing, it will fall down. So like that, when the bread rabbit was very heavier, we find the bucket goes inside the well. Okay, and the brother rabbit is also very much afraid. And at that time we find the bread fox is very much curious about to see what the bread rabbit is doing. So it wanted to find out whether the bread rabbit has told the true thing or a lie. So it goes behind, and he looks into the well, and he finds the bread rabbit there. Okay, he finds bread rabbit inside the well, and it also wonders why is he inside the well. And then he thinks that whether a bread rabbit might have found out any kind of treasure over there. So it is asking about. Okay, so we find then bread rabbit is he is wondering, sorry, bread fox is wondering why a bread rabbit is standing there. So it is asking bread rabbit why are you here inside the well. And bread rabbit now thinks of a plan, and he thinks that he tricks, and he is telling the bread fox that he has found a lot of fish, scores of fish there. And it also says that, come brother fox, come inside so that you can I cannot take this with my hands. Okay, it's so much of fishes are here, and I cannot take with my arms. You also come inside, we can take them and have a feast. So it's telling like that. And then we find the bread fox also believes in that, and it is asking how can I come inside. And then we find bread rabbit says, you jump into the other bucket. Okay, so like that it says. And you find the bread fox jumps into the other bucket, and you naturally know fox is heavier than the rabbit. And so bread fox goes inside, and bread rabbit comes up. Okay, and in the midway the bread rabbit says, some go up and some go down, go to the bottom safe and sound. So it's just singing a song like that, and wishing bread fox in a very naughty manner. And then we find bread fox lands inside the well, and it begins to search for the fishes, but it finds only mud over there. Okay, and then we find bread rabbit after reaching the top, it's saying that the hunters are coming for drinking water. Okay, so it is telling that, oh okay, you have to escape, but the hunters are coming there. If they find you inside the well, they might attack you and kill you. Okay, so it's just giving a warning like that. Okay, and then we find the hunters come there, and red fox when they are just uh, railing the bucket, we find Bread Fox comes up, and it escapes in a wink and escapes the hunter's eyes. Okay, and then we find Fox and Rabbit, they resume to the work, but they don't say anything to the others over there, because then they might think how the fox is unable to do his own things, and how it is very foolish. So they don't say anything about that, and they resume to work, and the fox grins at the rabbit, and the rabbit laughs. So here you find how the rabbit that represents the African people, how the rabbit outsmarts the cunning fox. Okay, so this is one attribute that the African Americans need to learn. And so through this folktale, they are telling about how they have to tackle any cunning people like that. Okay, so the next story that we move on to is the awful fate of Mr. Wolf. So we saw about fox, and the wolf is also a sly one. Okay, they are sly and thing. So now all these folk tales, they are not said from one people to another, but it's written like Uncle Remus telling to his boy. So it's passed on to the future. Okay, so Uncle Remus is an older person, and we find the boy as a very small young boy, okay, of 7 or 8 years old. So it's passing on to the different generations. We find all these stories are told by Uncle Remus to the boy. Okay, so in this particular story, we will find in the beginning, Uncle Remus is polishing his shoes, and he is telling the story to the boy. And there is also another character called Miss Sally, who works in who works in their house. Okay, so it's being told in the presence of her. And now the boy is asking. Okay, so you say that always the bread rabbit did something or the other. It tricked the wolf or the fox, and it escaped from the wolf or the fox. So didn't the wolf do anything after being tricked by the rabbit? It's asking. The boy is asking, and then we find. Uh, okay, so we find then only Uncle Remus is telling the story of the awful fate of Mr. Wolf. So we find the bread rabbit, the rabbits did not have any home. Bread rabbit particularly did not have home. This indicates the African American people being homeless. They did not have a home on their own. They did not have a house. Whatever they had built or a thing was destroyed. Similarly, bread rabbit's home, it built with twigs. It built with things, many things, but whatever it was doing, everything was destroyed by one creature or the other. And we find, so finally, Bread Rabbit built a home in the underground cellar. Okay, so it did not want to build any other houses, so it built a home in the underground so that anyone couldn't destroy it. So one day we find Mr. Wolf. It spotted out that Brer Rabbit has built a home of his own, and he wanted to see whether how protected it is, and whether they can destroy it. Like that, it is coming cunningly, and it comes over, walked over to see the house, and it just came inside the cellar, and it said a lie that the dogs are coming after him, and he asked for shelter. Okay, so the dogs are coming after me, so please provide me shelter for some time. Like that, Mr. Wolf is asking, and the rabbit also asked him to enter. Okay, you come, please be here. Like that, it is telling. And then we find after some time it's just looking at the other rabbits, the bread rabbits children and the small rabbits over there. It's just seeing all the other things, and then asked whether the dogs are gone. For that, the rabbit replies that no, one alone is roaming here. Okay, and then we find the wolf is asking, do you have anything to eat? You offer me something to eat. And it's asking, the wolf is asking to the rabbit in a cunning way. Okay, so offer something to eat means it is expecting a rabbit or something like that. Okay, so it's asking something to eat, and we find the rabbit is very cool, and it's going taking the wood and setting up the fire, and it's putting the kettle over that, and it's serving some food for for Mr. Wolf. So suddenly when the food is there, it's Mr. Wolf began to itch. Okay, and it is asking, oh my god, I am getting a lot of itching. What is it? Like that it is asking. And then we find Rabbit telling that the fleas are biting him very hard. Okay, so it says it is a planned one. It poured something in the kettle, that is some kind of what's it, not a medicine kind of thing, some ingredients, so that it will attract the fleas. Okay, and that will affect only the wolf. So it has boiled that, and because of that fragrance we find the fleas have come, and it attacks Mr. Wolf, and it's very painful for the wolf. And when it is itching, we find the rabbit runs away from the place along with all the other small rabbits at its house. Okay, and the wolf remained there, and we don't know what happened to it. So we find the rabbit has taken a revenge on Mr. Wolf. Okay, revenge in the sense, the wolf had an ill thought of eating the rabbits, so for that only it walked over into the cellar. So we find it has taken a revenge for its motive, and now it has given a punishment for him. So this is another motive. Revenge is another motive in the African American folk tales. So the next story we have is the wonderful tar baby story. Okay, so again, Uncle Remus and the boy are seated, and they are just talking about the fox and the rabbit. And the boy asked to Uncle Remus that didn't the fox never catch the rabbit? Okay, so we find Uncle Remus is asking, boy is asking, didn't the fox never catch the rabbit? And then we find Uncle Remus is replying to that, and we find the fox wanted to take revenge on the rabbit because it has tricked him so many times. So it wanted to trick the rabbit again and take revenge on it, and so it planned to catch the rabbit some way or the other. So it made a tar baby. Tar baby in the sense, turpentine oil, tar, which is used for laying the roads. It will be very sticky one. So like that it took many things, okay, many things, sticks and so many things, and it made a tar baby out of it, a baby kind of figure, which look really like a baby, okay, but it is a tar one. It's poured with a tar, which is a sticky one. So if anyone touches it, their hands will be caught in it. Okay, so such is that tar baby, and it was like a real one, and it placed it on a particular wood. Okay, and you find the rabbit came there, and it sat near the tar baby, and it thought that it was a real baby, and it started to talk to the baby. Okay, so it was talking, what are you doing, why are you not responding, what is your name, how come you came here, like that. We find rabbit is speaking to the baby thinking it is a real baby, but the tar baby never responded. So we find when all these are happening, the fox is lying behind. Okay, it's behind the wood, and it is listening to all these conversation. Okay, and we find when the rabbit begins to talk so much to the baby, but it never responded. So it thought that the baby was very arrogant, and it got very angry. So the rabbit angrily started to beat the tar baby, and the moment he puts his hand on the tar baby, both of his hands get stuck in the tar. Okay, and it cannot release it. And then we find the fox appears there, and it teases the rabbit for not letting out the not having yeah, its hands coming out. Okay, so it thinks that it has taken a revenge on the rabbit. And now the boy is asking the question. Now the rabbit is stuck inside the tar. Okay. And didn't the fox eat the rabbit then? Okay. Now it's stuck fully. Now it's a very good opportunity for the fox to eat the rabbit. Didn't it eat it? And Uncle Remus is saying that no, it's not the end. It's according to it's an open end. Open ended one means anyone can tell the conclusion of it. Okay, so according to the individual's perception, it is left to you to decide what happened next. So some say that it escaped, it did not, the fox did not eat the rabbit, it escaped. And some say that by doing some tricks or the other it escaped. And some say that the bred rabbit bred bear. Okay, bear is like a kind of a judge or something. Okay, so it came there and solved the problem between the fox and the rabbit, and it did not allow the fox to eat the rabbit. So you have, according to the individual's perception, for example, if it is a white person, they would say that the fox ate the rabbit. If it is a black person, they will say like if it may tricked, or it may have thought of any other plans, or it may have run away. Okay, even carrying the tar baby, like that it's left to the individual's perception how to escape from the tar baby, okay, from the trap. Okay, so in this we find there are the motive is the traps are laid by the American people, the white people, but it lies in the intelligence of the rabbit, that is the African people, to escape from it in a in a tricky way or an intelligent way, or whatever way it's possible. Okay, so it's an open-ended one. So this is another feature of the African American folk tales. Some stories are left for the own perception. Okay, they are open-ended, and you can end it any way. Okay, so these African American folk tales, through these characters, that is especially through the rabbit character, rabbits are always thought of being soft, naive animal. Okay, so like that we find the African Americans also are also thought like that, but they should not be like that. They have to outsmart the people, outsmart the cunning people, and come up with, above their struggles. Okay, so that's what the African American folk tales teach the African Americans. Okay, so I hope you understood the lesson. If you have any queries, you can post it to me in the WhatsApp.